to put that together. So thank you, Wesley, for getting that together for us. The gospel reading today comes from the book of Mark, chapter 12. It says, it's verse 38 through 44. As he taught, Jesus said, "Watch out for the teachers of the law. They like to walk around in flowing robes and be greeted with respect in the marketplace, and have the most important seats in the synagogues and in the places of honor at banquets. They devour widows' houses for a show, make lengthy prayers. These men will be punished most severely." Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put and watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts, but a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins, worth only a few cents. Calling his disciples to him, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They all gave out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all she had to live on." Now our choir will have the anthem, "Near My God to Thee."
Across
That was beautiful. A cappella. Thank you so much. Nearer, my God, to thee. Well, it's been a Sunday morning of reflection, of connecting with each other and remembering those who have gone before us. Actually, I had one more name given. It was Emma Jean. Chloe shared with me that was Ray's cousin, I believe, that was shared, that we lift her up, or the families up with her as well. You know, reflecting on the generations that have passed, one of the questions I have is, especially in an agricultural community here, how many of you all have ever picked crops? I mean, actually worked a farm, picked crops. Anybody? Raise your hand. Surely we have several that have picked some crops. We've got several, some in the choir, lots of places, a lot of pick crops. You know, my father, his first job was 8 years old, picking cotton out near Stamford, Texas. And he told me, this was during the Depression, or maybe, right toward the end of the Depression, that he got paid a penny a pound of cotton. Well, cotton is lightweight. It takes a while to build up enough weight to get a pound to have a penny. But that's what he would earn as a young boy. They had a 50-pound sack. It was a sack that would carry 50 pounds, and it was like this long sack. This 8-year-old boy is dragging this sack down the way. You can just imagine what that was like for him to be able, at the end of the day, to be able to say, man, I've been dragging this sack all day, and now I'm really dragging himself because he's worn out from all that. But it's a reminder of the generations before us that were picking cotton or baling hay, or some of you may be doing that yourselves, and others that are doing those things. And we see this connectivity we have with the story today of Ruth. Now, Dorcas brought me this bushel basket, and it reminds me that what Ruth was doing was she was trying to just get enough food to eat on, enough barley to eat on, to be able to make it to the next couple of days. She was just seeking that supply. And so she worked, and last week we read out of Leviticus. Remember the part in the Old Testament that talked about love your neighbor as yourself, that Jesus highlighted as the second commandment. And just a few verses before then was a passage about the gleanings of your fields. In other words, don't pick the crops and take everything down to the edges of the field, but leave some food out there for the alien and for the poor, to be able, those that don't have any land, to be able to have something left over. And so Ruth, in this very story, was actually hoping for the same thing. She was hoping they would have some barley left in the field. Just a little bit of barley left in the field. And so she worked all day and gathered enough barley. They took it to the threshing floor. And on the threshing floor, after it was threshed, she was able to go home with not this much barley, but about 3/5 of this bushel. They called it an ephah of barley. So it's about a little over half of this bushel basket that she had with barley. And her mother-in-law was so overjoyed that they had that much success that they were able to get some barley, really enough for the day, that they had enough barley for the day. And so that's my prayer for you who are going through times of grief. Sometimes you don't know what's going to happen a year from now or 5 years from now. But my prayer is that God gives you enough barley for the day. And whatever it is you're going through in life, wouldn't that be the best prayer? That God would just give me enough barley for the day. Whether it's grief, whether it's financial challenge, whether it's a major health issue that you're facing, whether it's a relational challenge that's taking place, whether you're just depressed or down or anxious about something. Whatever it is, my prayer for you is that God would give you enough barley for the day. And when we do that, it changes everything. The widow in the New Testament, we don't know the outcome of the story. We don't know what's going to happen, but we know this, that when she put those 2 small coins in that offering container, when she put those in there, it did not go unnoticed by Jesus. She gave it all. she put her complete trust in God. Maybe that Jesus watching there in those moments. Maybe Jesus, as he was looking at that widow, knew that he had an ancestor. He had an ancestor way back. And her name was Ruth. And Ruth was a poor widow herself. And Ruth was back there with no means of support. And maybe Jesus knew, you know what? That widow is important. Maybe Jesus knew what it was like to lose a loved one. He'd seen Lazarus die, although he could bring him back from the dead. He'd heard that his own cousin, John the Baptist, was beheaded. Cruelly, unjustly beheaded. He knew what it was like to grieve. Maybe this Jesus knows what it's like to live in a world that's not always fair. To live in a world that's not just. Maybe Jesus knew what it was like to feel dejected, rejected, ignored. Maybe in those moments he's looking at that widow and saying, this one is closest to the kingdom of God. As we prepare to wrap up, I just want to remember that this widow surrendered all. She truly surrendered it all. All she had to live on were these 2 copper coins worth a fraction of a penny. But she surrendered all, like that hymn we have that's called, I Surrender All. When we surrender all, we can trust God with, maybe God could be the one to give us that ephah of barley. Enough barley for the day. Maybe just maybe we can trust God when we surrender all. Because we look at the saints that have gone before us and those saints that we called out today. Joyce Lewis, Charlie Lyles, Chad Provo, Janice Ponder, Jimmy Ann Mitchell-Tree, Edwina Reimer, David Warren, Sarah Williams. They've surrendered all. And today, we carry them with us. But God sees them face to face and they see God. And together, we know that God is giving not only them, but giving us enough barley for the day. As we prepare to go, we're going to sing a song called Holy Ground. It's in your small hymnal, number 2272. Because this place truly is holy ground. Has been for decades, for generations of folks who've come here to worship God. This is holy ground on which you're standing, holy ground where many of those have stood that we remembered today. As we sing Holy Ground, if you'd like to come down and just pray at this altar, you're welcome to come down and do that. I'd be glad to pray with you if you'd like. If you'd like to come join this church, you may do that as well.